made you want to do this? What made you want to be a fitness model?
Well, that's actually really funny. I think um, as a child, I used to tell people that Jane Fonda was my babysitter because I
That's
know that's
weird,
so
Ayana.
random. It is weird. And if you know me, most of my I'm weird like that. And I say that because I was entertained by watching aerobics movies or aerobics workouts on. I mean, this is like really old. This tells my age, like on VHS. You
Uh-oh.
know,
Let me see your body work. Yeah, I know, girl.
you know. And then on Saturday mornings, they would have after cartoons, the show called Body Shaping would come on. I don't know if you guys anybody remembers that, but I would just be so inspired by what the models were doing on there, and they were actually I can't say I've always been a fit skinny person, but I felt like my body was their body, like something about them I connected with.
Hmm.
They weren't overly muscular, they just had a very toned athletic body, and I was always driven to that. So um you know my desire in that and seeing that, and then I went to school and I ended up getting a degree in exercise science, and then my passion continued to grow. And, the fitness modeling came about when, I started reading Oxygen magazines. And there is, I think, Corey Everson, which was a bodybuilder, you know, late 80s, 70s, around that time, and Linda Murray. And I would see these ladies, these women, and just think, oh, they're so beautiful. So, after working as an exercise specialist and as a personal trainer for several years, I decided, you know what, I want to do something to take my career and challenge my fitness ability. Because I got a little complacent. I was okay with doing the general exercise and working out, but I wanted something more.
And what
So,
was that next step for you?
well, that next step was actually competing as a in a bodybuilding show in the figure division. And that came about because I had a friend that I met in college, and I was watching her go through the prep work, and she actually took me with her to a show in Miami, and this was in 2001. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the smell of the protein. I fell in love with the energy in the room. I fell in love with just the whole community of bodybuilding. And in 2010, I told my friend while we were sitting in the movie theater, um, I'm going to compete. And it was really random when I have popcorn in my hand and I'm stuffing popcorn in my mouth and I'm
Yeah.
saying, I'm going to compete in bodybuilding, really not having any idea of how much a commitment and discipline it was going to take. I just knew that I wanted to do it. And I think the fact that I confessed it and got it out to her, even fed that. And I like how you talk about little seed. It feeds the seed even more. It
Mm.
drove me even more to want to be accomplished in it. And my first show was in May of 2010, and I placed in the top three. And, it just kind of grew from there. And the photo shoots, I had some fun with those and got a chance to see what that was like, was trying to stay as disciplined as possible because you never know when you're going to get a phone call for a photo shoot somewhere. And, I
Right.
definitely learned a lot. And, that's something I'm always going to have for the rest of my life. It's just a good
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. And it's amazing to me. And listeners, I just want to point this out. So you were sitting in a movie theater in January, and then in May, you placed top three in a competition.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
It is crazy, and I do give credit to, my friend that was sitting there. She became, my ultimate training partner. She did everything I did, except for like the strict dieting that we have to do from time to time for competition. But she was able to see my transformation, and then also, just having her energy and her support played a huge role in that. So we went from eating popcorn to being on the stair stepper at 4:30 in the morning. Our lives completely changed.
That's
And I had
amazing.
never, yeah, I'd never done anything like that before. And it was just, um, it brought me closer to God. Yeah,
It
Mona,
no, go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just going to say, I can't explain. I guess I could try to explain, um, you know, physically we have that capability of achieving something, but in a sport like bodybuilding, it goes beyond the physical. It goes beyond, our own doing, and I had to draw closer in to achieve my goal. And I think sometimes it's taught me a life lesson that we can set ourselves up and think that we can do things on our own, but in fact, we need to reach, trust, and believe that we have that strength, and God gives us that strength to achieve these things. And that helped me with my confidence to be so successful in bodybuilding.
It's amazing to me because it's like this had to take so much focus. And so I'm a little curious about your regimen and if you notice any fluctuation in your daily life as you made that transition, like social life, daily life.
Definitely. So, training at 4:30 in the morning, which means that you can't stay out late at night. And, you're missing the happy hours, or sometimes you're missing birthday parties where there's cake, which is a big weakness for me. I had to say no. So my social life changed significantly, and I was focused on achieving my goal. And for the most part, most of my friends understood that, but then others, they were, it was a little iffy. They understood I was competing. I probably wouldn't talk to them for a couple months or until I was done competing, and then we could pick back up. But I also ran into trying to adapt to my new body and fit in with the friends that I had when we're out and about in social environments. So, unfortunately, muscles, on a woman, they tend to look different or intimidating. So, when I'm in a certain group of friends or in a certain social environment, my body structure became a bit of a conversation piece, sometimes in a positive way and sometimes not in a positive way. And you could feel that energy. At least I could.
I always say that energy is shared. So if you feel like something's happening, a lot of times people say, oh, I think I might be crazy, or this might just be my imagination. We are energetic beings that are transmitting energy and communicating all the time and being communicated with. So I don't think at all that it's a silly notion that you felt the energy shifting in the room, because that's what we were created to be, is, feelers of that energy.
Right. So, then that kind of confirmed mode that, unfortunately some of my friends became jealous, or some of my circles became jealous, or even envious, or, because maybe they had a weight loss goal or wanted to change their body, but they had distractions and were unable to do what I did. But, I lost some friends during that, but I feel like the people that stayed in my life, those are the people that understood and supported my goals, and I supported their goals. So, it changed significantly. Yeah. Training at 4:30 in the morning, training at 5:30 at night, getting home at 10, prepping food, making sure everything is packed. You pretty much, social life is just non-existent during that time.
Right. And, when I think of working out, unfortunately, it's a little bit of like drudgery and all of that stuff. And then I was really praying about this and meditating on this over the holidays. And I was thinking, okay, how can I get into a better space? And one of the things that was kind of floated to my mind is that I notice that there are times when I'm in what I call the zone creatively, if I'm painting or working on a project, and I enter into the state of meditation. And in Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Outliers, he speaks about this phenomena that occurs, and it becomes like an automatic meditation when you're in, quote unquote, the zone. Have you had any experiences like that while training? Because I'm trying to make that leap into this can be a wonderful, grounding, healthy thing too, not just fun and painting and, all the things I like. Did you have a zone moment in that training?
I want to say definitely. One of my favorite things to do is cardio on the beach. The beach is, especially there off of Fifth Avenue in the Atlantic, just going across the bridge and, just definitely like early in the morning, that started my zone, going across 192 Causeway and parking my car and taking my shoes off. And sometimes I would just have like on a bikini bottom and a t-shirt and a sports bra, and because I knew, it's just, I wanted to feel the energy of the beach. So I would put in my headphones, and most of the time that was usually on a Sunday that I did that, whether it's before church or whatever. I would put on some, really either some yoga music or some gospel or some contemporary Christian, and I would just, either walk or run. But I remember one particular morning where I had the connection of the waves, the sun, the breeze, and the sand, and I was just in pure amazement at how all this energy and so many different textures, the crashing of the waves, the calm of the breeze, the strength of the sand, and it was just the brightness of the sun. It was like this strength that I felt that I could do anything. If God was with me, then I could really do anything. I just had to trust Him.
And who could be against you?
Yes, I know. That's, with the waves crashing in and out, it was like, either way, I'm going to make it. That's just how I felt. There's a reason why I was doing what I was doing. So that's something I will never, ever forget. And, if I could tell people, find that place that you can go to that reminds you and it feeds your energy. Because sometimes people around us will, sometimes people in our own circle will distract us and we don't feel that energy. And sometimes you have to separate yourself and step outside and do something different so you can really get a chance to connect with your inner self. So that was my way of doing that, was on the beach, and it was great.
What a beautiful picture you've just painted with the waves and kind of like the universe was breathing for you and breathing you and sharing some of its magnificent energy with you. That's really inspiring. It makes me want to go to the beach, and fortunately we live here. We can do that. The beach is right here for us. Now, I've got to ask you though, when you're not training, we've talked a lot about your training, but when you're not training, I think this is so important for the listeners to hear and understand. Because I know you, and I've seen multiple, facets of Miss Ayanna.
Yeah,
when you're not training, what does your life look like?
When I'm not training, I am trying to catch up on life, pieces of life that I've missed. For instance, it could be going to a happy hour or meeting some friends or, it could be anything from doing some of those hobbies, Mo, that, I like to do, painting or drawing or arm knitting, which is one of my favorite things to do, especially during the winter. But, yeah, dancing is huge. I love salsa dancing. I love ballroom dancing. So because two of them sometimes, counteract each other, you would think dancing can go along with the fitness, but sometimes we go into overtraining when we're doing too much. So I had to put that to the side. And then most of all is spending time with my family and friends. Sunday dinners at my mom's house became a bit of an issue because Mom would be cooking like the fried chicken and the rice and, the good stuff.
Yeah.
Smothered in gravy with cornbread and collard greens, and I can't necessarily eat that. So when I'm not training, I'm spending time with my family and friends and catching up, I guess, on life and food.
What I hear here is balance. Really, that's the thing that jumps out to me, and that's the thing that I really want people to know, because we can be so fatalistic with our new me, new year changes. What you're saying is you have a balance. There is that extreme time when it's just chicken breast and brown rice and sweet potatoes or whatnot. And then there's a time of fried chicken and smothered things and family and happy hours. And I think that's something we miss. We kind of feel like it's all or nothing. And I think I've seen you in your life model for your many clients that you've trained and for me as just a friend, that you are, there's a duality to you, but it's a rotating thing that is very much about achieving balance. That's one of the words you spoke to me about, balance.
Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of us, we forget how to balance that. It's like a seesaw effect, and sometimes we stay too long in one area and we get complacent, and other times we're just not really sure what we're going to do, and then and we end up falling. And so the biggest thing that I learned was it is important to find balance between my two lives, competing personal trainer, group fitness instructor, to just the girl that likes to read a book or go to the beach and have fun and dance and sing, and that really I had to learn that. And of course, I'm still working on that. And after talking to a lot of my clients,